Hello, my name is Mr.Andre. I'm going to be kind of your flash mob choreographer guy. If you notice, I got mismatched socks. It's to remind me who I work for. So I work for the kids. My job, I'm trying to kind of like set the place, kind of set the space for, these amazing kids to shine. So this is what we're kind of working on to be able to do that. It's called the Children's Revolution. Yay! So some people would say, okay, Mr. Andre, so why do the kids need a revolution? Actually, kids' lives are pretty cool. You don't pay for nothing, stuff like that. Well, it's a call for a little bit of change, man, and it's a call for a change in education. Right now, having kids in little desks and rows and waiting for the clock, it's not beneficial, and it's not how we're designed. So it's a revolution in education for more playful, more interaction, more group work. And this stuff is actually happening already. It's a way to call attention to it and further along, to using circles. In a circle, everyone can hear each other, everyone can see each other. Everyone's got a front row seat. And it teaches how listening skills, all sorts of stuff, and we'll get into that. But why Children's Revolution? Well, just as they're sitting in desks, so we are too in cubicles, waiting for that clock. And it's not natural. And it's not good for us either. So it's also a call for a revolution in work. A working revolution. Hard time for everyone. Why Children's Revolution is getting, if I start focusing on this, it'll get all kind of complicated. Kids, keep it simple. Why Children's Revolution? To move from a bully system to a support system. From a way of not to, hey, you better do this, whatever it is you got to do, or you're not be able to feed your family or have a house to live in. It's a bully system. It actually doesn't work that good that way, and we'll get into that. But why Children's Revolution? It's also a revolution in justice. Going from punitive system to a restorative system. Hopefully regenerative system. We'll get into that too. Why Kids Revolution though? All this is some complicated stuff, some heavy stuff. Why Kids Revolution? Because right now we're on the journey from the mind to the heart. Why Kids Revolution? Because we start off in the heart. So they just remember the lights and the bright that we are, the kindness and the love. Why Kids Revolution is to see what we are and remember. I don't know if you're like me. I'm often quite forgetful. I'm often forgetting. But that's the only way to remember. So we're good at it. And so a lot of this, we're going to keep it simple. These really big ideas, but it is a revolution. It is a call for something to be changed. Kids, why do you want a revolution? Well, if you think your parents are working too much, if you don't see them enough, it's a revolution for that. Worst thing we ever did to First Nations people was we took their kids away from them. Their teachers. We do that on purpose. In our schools and in our work, we separate what is naturally connected and bonded. Anyway, it's called for revolution to support each other in this life. It's actually kind of ridiculous. You think of throwing someone out in the woods, hey, you're 18, you're on your own, go, just survive. It doesn't work like that. The beauty of what we are is our compassion, our kindness, and how we work together. So we're going to look to move into that kind of way of thinking and being. Because it's the way of our hearts. But how do we get there to here? It's a bit of a journey. Why Children's Revolution? Do these little simple steps that will help guide us. At the end of the day, it's about playfulness and kindness and love and spending that time with each other. And that's where the value is. All right, keep the little thing simple here. Sweet Children's Revolution. And nice and simple. I'm going to start with a circle, for kids. It's pretty simple. A circle. I'll throw a line there. And a line there. Okay, so this guy that we're going to talk about is the medicine wheel. He's looking at a lot of indigenous knowledge, a lot of perspective. We're going to see a little bit by the end of this how we got a little lost in our perspective. We're those that remember to keep it whole. So here we got spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. Alright. So physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. Now, from the four corner store and the four people in the four directions, and different people with different secrets, but we have all those elements within us. Right? We got air, fire, water, and earth. Or, the reason maybe that emotion rhymes with ocean. Makes sense to me. Anyway, when I do that four corner story, I also teach, we sometimes exhibit a little bit more fire, a little bit more air. Water is a stubborn force, but it's also a loving force, brings life to everything. There are flip sides to both things. Hey, you might know someone who feels like earth, like a mountain. When they walk in the room, you just feel better and feel grounded. Those are earth-like people. And air, like to talk a lot. Fire, like to dance a lot. Something like that. But we have all these elements within us. So maybe you know a friend who maybe is more like fire. You can learn the positives and negatives by watching them and help yours too. It's how we can learn from each other. So at some point, take a time, check in. How you feeling today? You're more air, kind of moving with the wind, with the flow. Are you fire? Remember, fire is not all dangerous. Maybe it casts a lot of shadows, and that's why people get confused. But it also cooks our food, keeps us warm. Feeling kind of water. Oh yeah, with that earth too, yeah, it can be stable, but hey, when it's angry, it shakes. Each of these things are ways in which we can understand ourselves. Part of the revolution is learn who you are and checking in with your heart. That's why there's that part about calling a revolution where you can call it, you can support it. You go, not for me, or you can just be silent. That option is there. Yeah, it's just a way to practice. You can be silent on the matter. Spirit just is what is. Not for me. Can't force water to do nothing. We try. We build dams, but dams they cause other problems too. Water needs to flow and to feed, do what it's got to do. So respect and emotion, hey, not for me. Not forcing nobody to do nothing. If that's not for them, hey, give them that space. Physical is kind of calling it, inspiring it. Like, let's do it. Here's the spark, here's the flame. Or you can just support it. Give that fire that breath it needs so it can shine bright. So in that thing, you can say your name and you can call it, you can support it. Not for me, right? Just be quiet. Your choice. It's your call. Or maybe it's your calling to do something fun. Tossing that out there. Anyway, let's move on from this little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to have an education revolution. Well, one of the basic ways is that circles, teaching in circles. And then we each get to practice to use our voice and to feel what it's like to be heard. We learn to listen in circles really easily because if you start talking, everybody can hear you. So it's built in natural. And listening is actually pretty easy. You don't do anything. It's sweet like that. In circles, you share information. Hey, you can go around and someone having a problem. Oh, I don't quite understand this thing. This is how I understand it. You don't go straight to the answer. You go to the next person over. How do they understand it? And slowly but surely, you'll get to someone who does get it. But then they can talk to how all the other people misunderstood it. And then by that time, everybody in the circle knows what's going on. It's how we share knowledge. How we share ourselves. In circles, it's your doubts being spoken and your hopes being spoken. You share it together. And you take what you need, and you leave the rest there. It's a nice thing. Teaches equality, leadership, all that good stuff. Natural. It's not for everything to meet in circles. That's just where you come back. You can do group projects, solo projects. Lots of stuff's already on the go, and there's lots of teachers who already know the know. It's calling attention to it. So another way in education, I like to daydream. So I was daydreaming. I was up in Fort McMurray. That's where I'm from. I was daydreaming. There was this high school, this new awesome high school being built, and I daydreamed that some teachers would go to that and that leave an opening in one of the high schools that I knew about. Of course, being daydreaming, I went from being a teacher and right up to being a principal. Great, good daydream. But I was like, if I'm going to be a principal, I'm not going to be principal like top dog. So I'm not principal with an A. I'd be principal as in a teaching. My nameplate would read Mr. Andre, and my teaching would be peace. Just be who you are. I thought about a really good partner because it's all about team teaching with the way that I'm learning. And I thought of a good partner up there, really solid with stuff. I was like, where would she be? Oh, of course she'd be the principle of love. And I thought about the principles that were there, and since I'm not just about two, I'm about four. Say, hey, what would they be too? Like, oh. Always for, it's for their support and safety. Ooh, it's interesting having safety in the fire. But I was thinking about that. That's with the principles of our school. Peace, love, safety, and support. Now, safety is a really interesting thing, and what I like about it is that if you want to have a safe place, if you're missing one component, you just build the other three and it builds the fourth one in naturally. If you have a place where people feel like they can be themselves and feel love and support, hey, it's a safe place. If someone's trying to figure out who they are, you give them a safe space and the support and love, they'll discover who they are. And they'll become part of the circle too. So everything's a reflection of everything. So this can also work in how we operate in our communities.